So this is the beginning of the Lehigh Trail. It starts with a nice boardwalk that elevates it over the sometimes wet areas, depending on our rainfall. I don't know if you can see down there, but there's some water there now on both sides. When I first got here 14 years ago, I saw the two biggest wild alligators I've ever seen. Looked more like a 11 and 12 footer. Biggest alligators I've ever seen in the wild. You might see them up in a St. Augustine alligator farm, places like that, but not in the wild. They were monsters, and I haven't seen them since. Perhaps they were carted away or not. Hi. So this is the Lehigh Trail. You can see it's paved, and it's a beautiful looking trail. There's some water on one side. There's some water on the other side of it. So it's raised up above the water areas. About 2.5, 3 miles down the trail, you'll see a little trail to the left, which is the Lehigh Trail extension. Morning. So here we go, beautifully covered with trees and sphagnum moss hanging off of it. Very old South, and just a beautiful trail for walking and biking. About a year ago, actually started a year and a half, 2 years ago, to build an extension which went a couple of miles south to a route called Moody Boulevard, or Route 100, Florida route, and a bridge over that. And that's pretty interesting. We'll hold up here, let this other bike go by. Zip around the walkers with their dog. Many people use this trail. It's never really crowded, but there's always somebody on it. We have another trail called the Graham Swamp Trail, and the area we're in is called the Graham Swamp Conservation Area. And it's just a large area of nothing, just natural woods, palmettos, animals, lots of deer, alligators, sometimes a bear, sometimes a lot of bobcat, and of course you have those feral pigs as well. So this used to be the railroad track, and that's why it's so straight in this area. So far, my brake repair has worked very well. Stops the bike well. Hi. And I'm happy with it. As I said, I may just get a pair of semi-metallic pads and get them in there and see what happens. But they certainly don't squeal, and that's one of the positives of resin. Negatives that they wear sooner than the other type of brake pads. Good morning. I always try to say good morning to people and how are you and things like that. It's a very friendly area. If you ever thought about moving to Florida, you have two options. Well, you have many options. Two options: to live here permanently, or to be what we call a snowbird. You have a house or a condo up north, and you come down for so many months of the year during the winter when it's nicest. Fall, spring, of course, is the best. Now here comes the Lehigh Trail extension. There's no real sign for it, but this is it. You can see it starts out with this interesting looking metal bridge with, that's like Trek decking, which is made of plastic, old reused plastic, and it lasts quite a long time, certainly longer than wood. And there are 3 such bridges on the extension, this being the longest of them, and this will take us down to Route 100. Then we'll go over the bridge, and then we'll come back again on the trail, and hopefully we can end the video at the point we entered the trail. Now along here you're going to see some damage done by the feral pigs on either side of the road. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but you will see it here. See if I'm level. Now we're coming up to the second bridge. But on the right you can see some damage done by the pigs. You see all that earth turning? They use their snouts to dig up grubs and other insects, and perhaps some roots underneath the grass, and in so doing they really rip up. You can see some more here. Maybe I can point the camera down so you can see that a little bit better. I'll try to do that. Here's the second of the 3 bridges. Comes over another wet area. And back onto the extension. This trail is newer, so we don't have the same overhang of the trees as we did on the original Lehigh Trail. Let's see if I can scoop this down a little bit, show you a good portion of where the pigs have been digging. Coming up here. It's all over, but there are some spots where it really is very noticeable. Here. You see that? Yeah. That's where the pigs dig. And I'd rather them dig here than dig in my community or along the road I live on. Now we are in PAS 3, gear 4, and doing about 15.5 miles an hour, which is nice. I did a battery check. The last 4 or 5 rides I did on one charge of the battery, and with 33% of the battery left, according to the Hay Bike application, I went over 60 miles. And I believe 5 rides. One was a very short ride. Okay, I got a notification my first SD card was full, so I had to change it, which I did, and hopefully we're recording again. That's a good sign that we're recording, although I can't play back any of the video because it's not working correctly. It simply turns off if you try to take it out of video record mode. So when I get home, if I did in fact record this ride, I will check things out and maybe send it out for repair if I have to. If not, I'll just reboot it from the computer and see if that works. All right, so we're back here along the trail approaching the 3rd bridge. So raise that up just a little bit more. And this is the 3rd bridge on the trail extension, and soon we'll be getting to the bridge. Did you notice on that little bridge, it almost sounds like there's music, and what happens is the slats on the bottom as you pass over them are causing the vertical pieces to vibrate and make noise, and it almost sounds like music. Now we're coming up to the last part of the extension, and we'll see the bridge shortly. What they did on that bridge, they put this A-frame metal structure over it, kind of a mesh structure, to prevent, I guess, people from jumping, or more likely throwing things off the bridge. But you don't have to do that. It's a big overkill in cost. And by the way, you can see lots and lots of pig damage here. Okay, here's the bridge, and we'll be going up that. My map my ride says we just hit 5 miles, which is good. It should be about a 10-mile round trip. And there's the bridge. I hope you can see this A-frame. It used to be the color of the railings on the side here, and when the sun rose and set at a certain spot, it blinded drivers. Yep, it did. And there's the bridge with this ugly A-frame. And they had to paint it rather, after they built it with this ugly brown kind of rusty color to tone down the reflection. And that did work. That did work well, but it cost another lot of money. I'm not going to say how much, but it was more than you probably imagine painting a bridge would cost. And the construction of the bridge, I believe, was helped with federal and state grants. Now this little path here we'll go to, it goes out to a sidewalk along the road. That's Route 100. And to the right would be going towards Flagler Beach, Florida, and to the left towards Bunnell, actually towards the center of Palm Coast and town center and things. But eventually you get to a town called Bunnell, which is the county seat. So here we are. We'll stop so I can show you that bridge in all its glory. And then we'll just make a turn around here and go back. And now we're heading back towards the extension and, of course, Lehigh Trail. And I'll simply make a right turn. Now the trail does go another 4 or so miles, or maybe 4.5 miles further towards Route 1. That's US Route 1, where it ends. So totally the Lehigh Trail is about 7 miles, a little over, and the extension is about 2.5 miles. I've never really measured it. There's another look at the bridge coming up, and it's quite notorious. People have lots and lots of comments about this, but I guess when you go under it, you'll feel safe. It is a nice addition to biking and walking to be able to do that. And we're hoping they'll make an extension south of the bridge with a trail such as this, and maybe go down another 4 or 5 miles to Old Dixie Highway. But we'll see. All right, we just switched up to Gear 5, still in PAS3, and we're doing about 17 miles an hour. I think maybe you could see my helmet guard, the visor, as I look down to look at the camera. Nothing like professionalism ablaze. We're going to switch it down to Gear 4, make it a little easier ride. One day I'll actually measure the length of the extension, but not today. You can see a lot of trees have fallen or were knocked down during the construction, and they just left the trunks alongside the road. But again, that's Florida. Florida has trees, and hurricanes and storms come along, knock those trees down, and other trees grow. And things grow in Florida. They may grow in California, and they have a wonderful amount of vegetables that they grow, but it's all watered with water from the Colorado and other reservoirs in the area, like the Hoover and the Lake Mead. Here, yeah, we water, but we water from our wells and the aquifers, and we have natural rain. This area is not so bad. It's about 200 miles away from the Gulf Stream. And if you look at that, you'll see Florida has a notch in it in the northern part. So take a look at Florida, if you would. You can put this on pause, and you'll see there's a notch that comes in around St. Augustine and below. And we live in that area. That means when hurricanes do come around and they turn north, they tend to follow the Gulf Stream, which means they'll stay about 200 miles away from us or so. One was about 50 miles, but they stay away from us. And the only ones that really have done damage up here, we're not talking about down below in this Miami area, because they've had some major hits. But up here, it's only hurricanes across the state from the Gulf. And then, of course, they weaken because they are on land across the state. Now, we've been very lucky. Very, very lucky. Knock on wood, or thank you, God. Whatever you choose. But that's been our history here. It's one of the reasons I moved to this area, because it has 3 full seasons, and it has a chance not to be hit so hard with a hurricane when we do get them. And everybody gets hurricanes in Florida. That's part of the natural part of living here. You also get some tornadoes once in a while. We just had a tornado hit the middle of the state. Actually, it was in Palm Coast, and it touched down. I think it only damaged 2 or 3 or 4 homes. It was a quick touchdown, but we do get tornadoes here, but not very often. Maybe the new climate change weather pattern will create more here, which I hope it doesn't. But so far, so good. A beautiful state. Things grow quickly, grow back quickly, heal themselves quickly after damage. It's a nice place to live. If you don't like the heat in the summer, of course, then you can simply go up north. And a lot of snowbirds do. In my community, my particular small part of the community, about 40% of the people leave during the summer and either have residences, homes, condos, things like that, in the northern part of the country, up in Pennsylvania, some from Canada, one's even from Montana. So it's very interesting. But we stay here all year. We like it here. I like all the weather, the heat. You just take a lot of showers, you sweat a bunch, but you learn to live with it and do things early in the morning, and you get things done. Okay, now we're back to the Lehigh Trail. And of course it goes further left, and we'll take that in the future. Right now, because of my camera situation, we'll just head back to where we started. And hopefully we'll have a couple good videos of this trip. And I'm glad to be back. If you haven't subscribed or liked my videos, please do. We appreciate that. I'm starting to create more content, not only with bike rides, but also with fishing and building my model railroad. And matter of fact, I'll show you that. I'll put a cut in here of a video of my model railroad so you can see what I'm doing with that. That's a good thing to do when it does rain. Recently I got quite a few new trees made and put on the layout, and I'm building a desert scene, and the last thing I'll do is add my water with a lake and a little waterfall and a stream coming down the mountain. Add more trees, of course, you know, things like that. Add some rocks, like fallen rocks and what they call talos, and we'll put that in to make it look more realistic. And that'll look nice. So I'll cut in a little bit of my train video, one of my trains going around the track. I recently took what they call a streamliner made by a company called Kato, K-A-T-O, Japanese company, that makes extremely strong and well-made engines in cars. Certainly their engines are well known, and I have quite a few of those. One of them pulls a streamliner, which is the passenger train, that I recently put lights in. They sold a kit you could add to these cars, and when I did, it turned out so well. I took a video of that streamliner going around my layout. I'll put that video here. Now you can see all my videos, including my cooking videos. That's another thing I do. My fishing videos, my train videos, and you'll see those on my Facebook if you look for Bob Carlson. It's Bob, C-A-R-L-S-E-N, Bob Carlson. You should be able to find my Facebook page, and on there you'll see my reels, and those are the videos I've made of the trains. Just beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. To ride this trail every day and never get tired of it. Now, as I said earlier, there is another trail north of here called the Graham Swamp Trail, and it's named after the Graham Swamp Conservation Area, which we're biking through right now. And it's a really beautiful trail. It doesn't go very far, maybe 5 miles, 4 miles, something like that, and ends at a road called Belterre. But if you go left and take this gravel extension, it takes you to a really beautiful lake. And from that lake they have great mountain bike trails. As a matter of fact, in the Graham extension, above the Lehigh Trail, they have a mountain bike trail, and that mountain bike trail is quite well used. Many events there, and races and time trials and things like that, I guess, but many events. And it goes into the Graham Swamp along the road called Colbert. Oh, there's some scat. You know what scat is? Scat's poop. And that was deer poop, fresh deer poop. So there must have been a deer that was up on this boardwalk. I guess you probably see the video shaking a little bit, even though I have shock absorbers in my front fork and on my seat. It does get a little. Now here's the entrance again to the trail, and we'll take it down a little further north, and then we'll end the video there. So now we're back on a road called Colbert. They do have a bike path, which is good, and I use it quite often. But for this video, I think I'll just stay on the sidewalk in case I need to stop. So that's the Lehigh Trail and the Lehigh Trail extension with the bridge. Another nice ride here in Florida.